It's Sunday, April 19th, 2020. Before I make this video, I want to warn everybody out there that there may be some negative commentary on this video. There may be some truth. I may talk about what's really happening to the US economy. I might talk about unemployment. I might talk about inflation. I might talk about hyperinflation. I might talk about what's really happening. Now, if this scares you, if it offends you, if it's negative, please shut this video off and go back to watching cartoons. Now, for the people out there who can handle the truth, for people out there that want to protect themselves, take this information, use it as ammunition to protect yourself from this economic collapse that we are now entering right here in America. Take this information, put the odds in your favor. Use this information to educate yourself, open your mind, and prepare yourself for what we are entering. Use this information so that you prosper and survive the greatest depression the world has ever seen. We have now entered a time where the US consumer is under attack. Very good article today on MSN.com. And I know there's people out there that just think I pull snippets out of thin air and I just make things up. This is why every one of you should do your due diligence and confirm everything I say. And you should do that with anybody you watch or anybody you listen to. You should do your due diligence and confirm what they are saying is the truth. The title, they filed for unemployment last month. They haven't seen a dime. We have now entered a period of time where we have never seen jobless numbers like the ones we're seeing. I mean, we have lost over 22 million jobs in 4 weeks. This Thursday, we will get the new jobless numbers, and I believe they're probably going to be around 3 to 3.5 million. So that's going to put us over 25 million jobless claims in 5 weeks. Now you add inflation. Now I know there's people out there that don't believe inflation exists or believe it's at an all-time low. They believe that it only goes up 2% a year because the government tells them so. But if we look at John Williams, shadowstats.com, this guy does this for a living. He says that inflation is going up on average about 10% a year and higher in some other areas of the country. I believe that 100%. This guy does it for a living. But, if you don't want to take his word for it, don't take my word for it. All you have to do is walk into a grocery store every other week. The prices continue to go up. Take a look at the price of a new car. The average car payment now in America for a new car is around $538. The average used car payment is around $420. Take a look at the cost of rent. Take a look at the cost of housing. Take a look at the cost of education. So anybody that tells you that there's no inflation or inflation is very minimal, they are drinking the Kool-Aid. They either live in a bubble or they need psychological help. Because when I go to the grocery store and I see a box of cereal for $5, it's half full. The quality is horrible. So we're getting less quality, less product, and we're paying more for it. I was at a gas station last week paying for gas, and it was an Arco station right at the counter. I mean, they were charging $2.50 for a candy bar. I mean, just look at the cost of produce, the cost of meat, food, everything across the board is going up. So these people out there that believe that there's no inflation, please stop with the lies. But we have a real problem here as people continue to be unemployed and the price of goods and services keeps rising. This is a very, very bad combination, and a lot of people are going to really be hurt by this. And, we talk about hyperinflation. With the government printing this much money, we have quantitative easing, we have these massive repo injections, we have the bailouts, we have all the stimulus, etc. We have the Fed buying stocks, the Fed buying bonds, all this debt creation. Yet people think that that's not going to cause inflation or hyperinflation. You're going to have dollars chasing less goods and less services. It is going to bring hyperinflation to America. So these people who believe this nonsense, that there's going to be no inflation coming to America, They are flat out lying. Here's another article, another bellwether to what's happening to this economy. 24-hour fitness weighs bankruptcy as fitness industry is pushed to brink. This is on CNBC.com. I read this last night. The chain is grappling with a massive debt load, deteriorating performance, and this frozen economy. They've had to shut down all 448 of their clubs. And as you know, these buildings, these clubs are massive. As I've said in the past for a couple years, you do not want to be going into a slowing economy, a recession, or a depression with debt. 24-hour fitness is heading into this depression with a lot of debt that they cannot pay back, and they're going to go bankrupt. You know, we've spoken many times why you want to be small right now, why you want to get rid of debt, because you want to be nimble. You want to be able to turn on a dime. You want to be able to evolve with this market. If you're too big, you're not going to be able to evolve with this collapse. You're not going to be nimble. You're not going to be fast. You're not going to be able to survive when you're carrying a debt load like 24-hour fitness. Imagine 448 of these structures. They're humongous. The amount of vacancies, vacant buildings we're going to see in America in the next 24 months is going to be overwhelming. We're looking at JCPenney's going bankrupt, Neiman Marcus filing bankruptcy, Sears is closed down, all your mom and pop small retailers and restaurants that are going to be closing down. Many of these retailers continue to shut down. The malls have been devastated. They look like ghost towns. These massive vacant malls, these massive 24-hour fitness gyms are going to be vacant. The landscape of America in the next 24 months is going to look a lot different. It's just really a sad time in America. But right here in this article, 24-hour fitness, they have a $837 million loan which matures in March of 2022, and $500 million in unsecured notes maturing in June of 2022. They have less than $1 million in cash. So not prepared for the rainy day. They borrowed a lot of money when rates were very, very low, and now they can't pay it back because we've entered an economic slowdown. People now will not be going to the gym because they don't have the money, they don't have a job. They're going to be cutting a lot of things out of their lives, and a $50 gym membership may be one of them, $20, $30, whatever they're paying. People are going to be cutting these luxuries out. On the hedge today, retail sales were bad. The reality is catastrophic. And when you look at these numbers, year over year, if we take April 10th, from last April 10th to this April 10th, the airlines were down 104%, lodging down 103%, restaurants down 53%, transit down 77%, clothing sales down 66%, furniture sales down 39%. So how are we going to come back from this? All this was struggling before this bubble was pricked. Now it's exposing the real weakness in this economy, how weak things really, really were. Look, we now see that America was not prepared for an economic downturn, and America was not prepared for a health crisis. So an economic crisis nor a health crisis were we prepared for. We have now been exposed. I think a lot of people really thought America was more prepared, that America was a lot stronger than it is. But the fact of the matter is, America was not prepared for an economic crisis, and it was not prepared for a health crisis. And it is not prepared for what is coming. We better get ready because a meltdown crisis is coming. It's fascinating to me that there are still people out there that insist that we are not in a financial crisis. There are people out there that believe that this economy can just be turned right back on. But these are the same people that thought the economy was booming before this whole downturn. This is a fact. We are in a much worse place than we were in 2008. And this financial crisis is going to get much worse. When you take an economy that is based on credit and based on debt, where people are spending money that they haven't earned, but money that they borrowed, how do you think an economy can continue? when people have no money, when it's completely dependent on debt. Before everything was shut down, the consumer was already broke. The consumer was already leveraged to the hilt, period. We know that the banks are in big trouble. And if you think they weren't, ask yourself, how come last September the Fed had to step in and start injecting hundreds of billions of dollars into the repo market? Because there was a liquidity crisis in our banking system. Why are the banks in trouble? You know, that's a question that a lot of people ask. Why are the banks in trouble? The banks are in trouble because people are now defaulting on loans. They're defaulting on their subprime credit card and auto loans. And they didn't just start defaulting on these loans last week. They were defaulting on these things last year. Look, nothing got fixed from 2008. Somebody put it correctly in the comments yesterday. They put a Band-Aid on a piece of skin cancer, and it's not going to go away. And so when people continue to deny the truth, deny the facts, deny the real numbers, nothing's going to get fixed. We're going to continue to go down a very dark road here. A financial crisis at this point might be the least of our concerns, because if this thing spills out socially, we're going to see some really dangerous times here in America. And I pray to God that some miracle takes place, that somehow this is corrected or fixed. I don't see how that's going to happen. But when people lose their jobs and their pensions, their 401ks, their savings, they're going to lose their minds. And people are going to, they're going to act out. It's going to be a very, very dangerous time in America if this economy is not fixed. And I don't think it can be fixed. I think it's going to have to crash before it can start over, before it resets, before it can be corrected. You know, we are in uncharted waters here. Nobody has ever been here. And we can only go back to history and look at places like Zimbabwe. But there's a lot of unrest that takes place, a lot of chaos that takes place when an economy implodes, when a currency collapses. So, you know, it's just a really uncertain time, and a time where you need to be preparing. You need to really be preparing mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially the best that you can. You know, when we talk about getting in better physical shape, you know, it's good to be active. It's good to go to the gym. I know everything is closed right now. So, you know, we have to do the best that we can. Try to eat a little bit better. That's hard to do. At least try to get out, take a walk, be active, do something other than sitting on the couch. But these are tough times. It's tough to get out now. I understand the gyms are closed. You know, the laws in your area may prohibit you from being in certain areas. So I understand that. So all we can do is the best that we can with what we have to deal with right now. But there was a very interesting article on the margin today. Anti-anxiety medication prescriptions have spiked 34%. And, you know, one thing we should do is being less dependent on medication. And now there's people that have to have it. If you have, you know, a heart condition or diabetes and things like that, you know, you're dependent for life, and I understand that. But there are some things that we don't need to be dependent on, and things like this. You know, do you really need, you know, anti-anxiety medication? Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. How much better would your life be if you didn't have to rely on this crutch? And what's going to happen if we go into a depression? Right now, we know that China is threatening the U.S. by holding back medications, by using their pharmaceutical production as leverage for America to play ball with them. So let's just say China played hardball and cut off a lot of medications that they ship to America. And what if it was your anti-anxiety medication? You know, this is the time right now, if you can, to get off this stuff, to get off medication. If it's, you know, if it's not life-threatening, you know, can you get off of this? And I think the less that you're dependent on, the better chance you're going to have to survive this whole mess. Because it's not going to just be financial. It's going to be physical. It's going to be spiritual. It's going to be mental. And we have to be ready for it. We have to get in in the mental mindset that we're going to be heading into some very dark times here. But your body is such an incredible asset. You're going to be dependent on your body. And as I've said many times before, if you're 400 pounds and the lights go out, and there's food shortages and there's violence, how are you going to survive? Think about that. If you're dependent on medication and there is no medication, how are you going to survive? Right now, we've got to be conditioning ourselves mentally and physically, spiritually and financially for what we are heading into. This is going to be warfare in a way. I mean, spiritual warfare, financial warfare, physical warfare, mental warfare. You need to be preparing every which way. So I'm a big proponent on not doing drugs, not being dependent on these medications. It's just another crutch. The less dependencies you have, if you're not dependent on alcohol and medication and weed, if you're, we have an obesity epidemic in America. People are dependent on just shoving tons of food in their mouth. We've got to start gaining some control here. If America can't stop spending, if it can't stop eating, if it can't stop taking medications, this country is going to be doomed. And right now, we look doomed. So I'm going to wrap it up right there on this beautiful Sunday evening. Look, I'm not here to make people feel good. I'm not here to talk about rainbows and puffy white clouds, to be positive nor to be negative. I'm just here to tell you the truth. I'm here to just talk about the numbers. I'm here to talk about the news. I'm here to talk about what's really happening. And a lot of times, I don't even have to read the news. I can just go out and use my own two eyes, my own two ears. I can read the comments down below. Please read the comments. Don't listen to me. Read the thousands of people who leave comments down below. These people are going to tell you what's happening in the real world, what's happening right here in America, what's happening to their jobs, what's happening at the car lots, what's happening at the RV lots, what's happening to their cities, their towns. They're losing jobs. Their relatives are losing jobs. If you really want to know what's happening in America, read the comments down below. I can only say so much. I'm reporting what I'm reading. I'm talking to you and thinking out loud what's happening right here in Palm Springs, California, what I see. But at the end of the day, this is just a small little part. The big picture is down below in the comments. People all over the country, all over the world telling you what's really, really going on. I will take the word of the American people in those comments down below than the word of anybody on MSNBC or the word of anybody on Fox Business News, okay? The people down below aren't getting paid by Wall Street. They're getting paid by Main Street. The people down below are telling you the truth. Now, I know that there's people out there that are skeptical. I know that there's trolls out there. I know that there's people out there that just can't face the real world. And I feel sorry for you. I hope that one day you're going to wake up, but I hope when you do, it's not too late. But there's a reason why you're watching these videos. If you didn't believe what I was saying, if you didn't believe what the people down in those comments were saying, you wouldn't keep watching every day. So I'm praying for everybody, whether you agree with me, disagree with me, whether you like me or hate me. I'm praying for every one of you, because at the end of the day, I love this great country. I love the people of this great country. And if we ever lose this country, there will never, ever be anything like it. Let's not take for granted what this country is. Okay? It is the world's last hope. If we lose America, it's over. Your kids will never know real freedom. We won't have freedom. Your grandkids won't know what real freedom is. We will all be debt slaves. And unfortunately, we are running out of time. We are certainly running out of time. I don't like the look of this new America. And I can't stress enough how decimated the middle class has become, how decimated the poor, the massive inequality, whether it's wealth or opportunity. If this continues much longer, we will not have a country. So You know, for the people out there who don't care, I hope you like Venezuela. I hope you like Zimbabwe, because that's where we're heading. And then at that point, you'll understand what you lost. God bless every one of you. I'm praying for you. Thanks for your prayers. Everybody who sent a donation, who sent a letter, thank you so much. I know there's people out there that think I'm a multimillionaire or something, but it actually does cost time and money to make these videos. And again, I thank everybody for the letters and the positive thoughts and the prayers, the people who sent a couple bucks. Thank you so much. I could not do this without your help. God bless every one of you. God bless America. Continue to pray for this country and continue to pray for me. I really do appreciate it.